never thought I'd be standing in front of a judge because of my neighbor. But when you've got an HOA Karen living across the street, chaos seems to find you, whether you ask for it or not. And this time she went too far. She destroyed my sneakers. Not just any sneakers either. We're talking about my $300 Yeezy collection. Gone. Shredded into pieces like some cheap knockoff. I remember the moment I found them. I walked out to my porch, cup of coffee in hand, only to freeze mid-step. There they were, my prized Yeezys ripped apart, laces dangling like limp noodles, soles sliced open as if someone had taken garden shears straight to them. My chest tightened, my hand shook. No way. No freaking way, I muttered, almost choking on disbelief. Do you know what it feels like to see years of collecting, trading, and saving just obliterated? And then, from across the street came that voice, that grating, smug voice. Oh, those ugly things. I thought I was doing the neighborhood a favor. She was leaning against her porch railing, arms crossed, that little smirk plastered across her face like she just solved world hunger. Are you serious, Karen? I shouted, the rage bubbling up inside me. My neighbors peeked out their windows, sensing drama was about to unfold. You had no right to touch my stuff. They were an eyesore, she snapped back without hesitation. Besides, sneakers on a porch against HOA guidelines. Trash belongs in bins, not on display. My jaw literally dropped. Trash? She called my collection trash? These weren't some worn-out Payless specials. These were rare releases, some of them signed, others impossible to replace. My business, my entire little side hustle depended on that collection. I resold sneakers. It was my bread and butter, my pride, my grind. And she just destroyed it because she thought they were ugly? I felt my blood boil. That's not just vandalism, Karen. That's fraud. You destroyed property tied directly to my business. You know what this means. She shrugged, rolling her eyes. Go ahead, call the cops. Who's gonna believe sneakers are worth that much? You're just making numbers up. That was the wrong move. I whipped out my phone right there, hands trembling with fury, but steady enough to snap photos. Every angle, every rip, every shred. Because when you're about to drop the hammer, you need receipts. And boy, did I have them. The cops showed up within 20 minutes, and you should have seen the look on Karen's face when they started taking me seriously. She tried to argue, waving her HOA handbook around like it was the Constitution. It clearly says no clutter on porches. He violated the rules first. But the officer cut her off. Ma'am, HOA guidelines don't give you the right to destroy private property. That's not enforcement. That's vandalism. I could have cheered right there. She sputtered, her face going red like a tomato, but I wasn't done. Not even close. Because this wasn't just about anger. This was about my livelihood. See, Karen didn't realize something. I kept meticulous records. Every sneaker purchase, every appraisal, every resale transaction. I had spreadsheets, receipts, authentication certificates. I could prove without a doubt that my collection was worth more than her brand new Lexus. And when the officer asked if I wanted to press charges, I looked straight at Karen, let out a long sigh, and said, absolutely. I want to file a lawsuit. Her eyes widened, her jaw dropping for once. A lawsuit over sneakers? Over my business, I corrected her, my voice steady now. And the damages you caused? Triple, actually, because destroying inventory doesn't just cost me shoes. It costs me sales, reputation, and clients. That's when the panic set in for her. She stammered, trying to argue that I was forging numbers, that I was inflating values just to scam her. Fraud, that's the word she tried to throw at me like some kind of twisted reverse Uno card. But here's the kicker. While she was yelling that I forged everything, I was already compiling proof. Authentication letters from StockX, screenshots of buyers offering cash, even old video clips of me unboxing rare drops. I laid it all out like a lawyer prepping for war. And court was glorious. I walked in with the folder thicker than a phone book, while Karen dragged in her flimsy HOA handbook like it was her golden ticket. She actually tried to argue that her actions were in line with community standards and that my porch was lowering neighborhood value. The judge raised an eyebrow so high, I thought it might leave his forehead. Then came my turn. I presented every shred of evidence, certified appraisals, purchase receipts, photos of the sneakers before and after, testimonies from buyers who confirmed the resale value. By the time I was done, the courtroom was silent except for Karen's nervous tapping foot. And then the twist, the cherry on top. My lawyer revealed that Karen had a history of complaints, including one case where she had been caught forging HOA violation letters to intimidate other neighbors. Fraud, plain and simple. The judge's face hardened and Karen's turned ghost white. That was it. Game over. The ruling came down like thunder. Karen was ordered to pay triple the damages, over $900 for business losses. Not just that, but court fees on top. When the judge banged his gavel, I swear I could have floated out of that room. Karen, meanwhile, sat there frozen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. She had that look, the one like the universe had finally spun back around to smack her straight in the face. I walked out, relief flooding my chest. Neighbors actually clapped when they heard the news. And as for me, I bought another pair of Yeezys, this time displayed proudly behind reinforced glass. A little dramatic maybe, but after dealing with HOA Karen, you learn never to underestimate petty evil. And her, she's quieter now. Bitter, sure, but quieter, because nothing humbles a Karen faster than losing a battle she started. The strangest part came a week later. I was out watering my front lawn when one of my neighbors, Mr. Henderson, the guy who barely waves at anyone, walked up with an envelope in his hand. He leaned in and whispered, "You're not the first one she's pulled this on. She once threatened me with a forged violation letter about my fence color. Said I'd fine me if I didn't repaint it. The thing is, there wasn't even a fine in the HOA bylaws." I just stared at him, stunned. "You're kidding me." But he wasn't. And then two more neighbors came forward, each with their own Karen horror story. She had yelled at one for lowering property value because their kid's bike was left outside. She'd accused another of fraud because their renovation permit looked suspicious. And all of them admitted they'd been too scared or too tired to fight her. Until now. It hit me like a wave. My lawsuit hadn't just been about sneakers. It had cracked open a wall she'd built around the whole neighborhood. She thrived on intimidation, bullying, and fake authority. And now that someone had dragged her into court and won, the spell was broken. A week later, I noticed Karen's yard looking different. No perfectly trimmed hedges, no pristine lawn stripes. Instead, weeds started poking through. Grass browning under the sun. It was like she'd given up. Or maybe the universe was just finally balancing the scales. People stopped fearing her and she couldn't handle that power shift. I almost pitied her. Almost. But then she had the audacity to glare at me from her porch one afternoon, muttering under her breath about how one stupid pair of shoes ruined her reputation. I exhaled sharply and shook my head. "Oh, Karen, it wasn't the shoes. It was your arrogance, your entitlement, your belief that you could trample over anyone without consequence." The final sting came when the HOA board itself voted to censor her. They didn't remove her completely, but they stripped her of her self-appointed enforcement privileges. No more walking around with the clipboard, no more fake threats, no more intimidation. She was just another homeowner now, powerless, bitter, and owing me more money than she'd ever admit. As for me, business bounced back better than ever. The publicity from the case weirdly worked in my favor. Clients trusted me more after seeing how seriously I valued authenticity and documentation. My sneaker hustle became stronger, steadier, and more profitable. And every time I lace up a fresh pair of Yeezys, I smile, remembering the sound of the judge's gavel slamming down. Some battles you don't choose. They come stomping onto your porch, smirking, scissors in hand, daring you to fight back. And when you do, when you stand tall and refuse to be steamrolled, victory tastes sweeter than anything money can buy. Karen thought she'd humiliate me by shredding sneakers. Instead, she shredded her own reputation and bank account. So yeah, if you're ever dealing with your own HOA Karen, remember this. The law can cut sharper than any pair of garden shears. And sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling, filing the right lawsuit and watching karma do the rest. And if you